house kitchen. If you look around, you're probably going to notice that this kitchen is a lot different from the kitchen that you have at home. We're going to look at some of the things that you might do at home and how we would do them here in our kitchen. Now, say you're thirsty and you want a glass of water. Well, you can just run into your kitchen and turn the faucet on and have a glass of water. But if you look at our sink, this is known as a dry sink, we don't have a faucet. Pipes are not bringing water into the sink. So guess what? You'd have to go outside to get water. Now this would be a kid's job like yourself. You would have to take buckets and run down to a pond or a stream or a river to get water to bring back into the house, sometimes a mile away. If you were really lucky, you might have a well outside, but a lot of families at this time period in Birmingham didn't have wells dug yet. Now, we could say that there is running water in the Hunter house because you're the one running for the water. Now, if you want to know how much water you're using every day, you can always try an experiment and measure the water as you use it throughout the day. I bet you'll find you use a lot more water than you think. And then, how would you change your water habits if you had to carry that water every day? So in your house, you probably have a stove to cook your food on or a microwave. In 1822, the Hunters would have had a fireplace instead. Stoves didn't really exist yet, so people had to cook on an open fire. If you've ever been camping, you've probably seen a wood fire. Now, wood fires are great for cooking. Your parents probably cooked you hot dogs and hamburgers over it. But in 1822, all the meals were cooked on a fireplace every day, so you had to have a lot of firewood. And that is something that children would help their parents with, whether it was collecting kindling or helping their dad and mom chop up the wood to fit in a fireplace. They would have to work really hard just to have their meal. So this is our fireplace where we cook all of our food. We don't have a stove that burns gas or uses electricity. Now, as you can see, it's pretty wide open, and women at this time period would have had long skirts, so working by the fire could be pretty dangerous. And that's where this comes in handy. This is a arm that pulls the food out so that you can stir it and cook it and add things to it, and then you can push it back without getting too close to the fire. Door here is the bread oven. In 1822, you couldn't just go to Kroger's or Trader Joe's to get your bread. You actually had to make it. You started off by growing your own wheat. Wheat is ground into flour, and then you add some yeast and some water, and you knead that until you have dough to make bread. Now you would heat this oven up, and then you would bake bread in this oven. You would probably do this once or twice a week because it takes a lot of firewood to run this kind of an oven. Now, if you wanted butter with your bread, that was another whole process because you had to make your own butter. As a kid, one of your chores would be to milk the cow twice a day, once very early in the morning and once at night. Now, taking that milk and turning it into butter was another whole process. Milk from cows have a lot of cream, and once you separated the cream from the milk, you would use something like this butter churn to churn it into butter. And butter churns take a lot of energy, and that would probably be something that you would do. Churning, you're just going to do this for a very, very, very long time until that cream is turned into butter. Depending on the temperature outside, it could take anywhere from 45 minutes to several hours. You may have noticed in our Hunter House kitchen, we don't have a refrigerator. We have something a little bit different. This is called a food safe. And people would bring their food up from the cellar in the very early mornings, just what they were going to use for the day. And they would put it in one of these cupboards to keep their food safe from rodents, insects, and maybe your little brother or sister. So this is our kitchen table, and it probably looks a lot like your kitchen table. We've got bowls and spoons and plates and all kinds of things to help us prepare our meals here in the kitchen. Now, Bella, you would have been fed different at this time period. See, dogs back then were working dogs. They were pets too, but a lot of them had special jobs. Dogs would keep you protected from wild animals, and they would also keep things like the sheep and the cows protected from other animals. So dogs were fed a little bit different. You couldn't go to Kroger and buy a bag of dog food. Dogs would be given scraps from your table. They would be given maybe meat that was going bad. And a lot of dogs actually hunted too, little rabbits and things like that. So now Bella, I'm sure the chief just goes straight to Kroger's and buys your milk bones just for you.